What's up, Rangers Nation? It's Alex Blink with Dallas Sports Fanatic, and this is Texas Rangers Fanatic Podcast, episode 19. And we have a special treat today because for the first time on this podcast, I actually have a Rangers player joining me. It took awesome. 19 times, but we finally got it. Congratulations, Mr. Wes Benjamin.
I appreciate it. Thanks.
So, Wes, first of all, I want to say Wes Benjamin is congratulations on being a new husband.
Yes, thank you very much. It's been very busy the past couple of days, and I'm not expecting the stress levels to go down anytime soon.
I think everybody can put that on their chest, saying stress levels are at all-time high. Everything that's going on.
That's true. No
it feels like it's only been really, I mean, I know per se you gotta ask somebody, but like 10 months. It's only been 10 months since and actually to the date today, been nearly 10 months since spring training was shut down. And then it's 10 months, 10 years, it feels like.
I'm convinced we're frozen somewhere and this is all like a simulation. It's taking too long. 2020, I'm halfway between, I don't know if 2020 happened or if we're still in 2020.
So my whole thing is, and if folks have listened to the last few episodes, I call this point not really 2021. I call it 2020-2 because 2021 is officially going to start middle of the year.
2021 only happens when I finally remember to write it down under the date column. I think that's when it officially starts for me each year.
I am so lucky that all computers have the full date listed at the bottom right or the bottom
there you
wherever
go.
you have it, because I'm seriously would be like January 15th, 2020/20. I actually a few times have accidentally put too many ones at the beginning, so I'm saying November 15th, 2021. Maybe
I don't blame you. You're not alone. Absolutely.
So, Wes, I have a question for you because it's been a crazy year. And so not only you got life of the alternate training sites, which I'm sure was riveting, and you got a look at the big leagues, your taste of the big leagues. Fans or not, you made your big league debut. I don't care what anybody says.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a little bit of Globe Life Field history. So in the ballpark's history, there is only one Texas Rangers pitcher that has picked up a victory on a doubleheader day. Do you know who that is?
Oh, boy. I didn't know there's going to be trivia involved. I do not. Who is it?
It's the person I'm talking to right now.
Oh, my gosh. Are you kidding me?
September 12th. The Rangers were one
awesome.
I believe, 3 teams that had only played one doubleheader in 2020. Arizona and Colorado were the other two. And somebody can correct me, but I'm pretty sure that that's the case. The Rangers, the only AL team, which was that day because of reasons. I'm sure everybody knows why the A's Rangers game was postponed to September. But yes, game one of the doubleheader.
Wow. I had no idea. That's awesome.
So Jeopardy question right there, if anybody. Or
yeah.
Well,
I'd look pretty dumb on Jeopardy, too. That'd be terrible.
I would, too.
That's awesome.
So.
Pretty cool. But yeah, it was an awesome year, at least, on the baseball stand front. Super grateful that I was given the opportunity to, kind of show up and do what I came there to do, and hopefully make a name for myself this next year here would be wonderful. So I'm excited for what this year has to come. Absolutely.
Have you had any conversations regarding going into spring training?
About just like what the plan is?
About your role? I don't know if it's too early for that, but have you
The funny thing is like when people ask me what position do you play, I just say pitcher because I'm going to be wherever they're going to allow me to be. Obviously, you talk to any one of our guys, it's going to be where can I help the team? So they tell you, hey, we want you to play first base now. I'm going to play first base. So I think that'd be awesome just to help the team out however I can. My ultimate goal and how I want to help the team out the most is being a starting pitcher. And I think that's something I've done my whole career. I'm comfortable with it. I know what I'm doing. The most interesting thing I think this past year for me was figuring out how to take on that reliever role, that bullpen role. And, when you have 6 pitches to warm up, and I'm used to having a full hour and a half. I can stretch out, I can roll around, do whatever I want to do. I don't have time for that pre-workout to kick in and be ready to go out onto the mound. I have to be like, all right, make sure you have one or two pitches in the zone for a strike, and get these next 3 guys out as fast as you can. So it's fun to be able to know that I can do that. And also the fact that, you don't necessarily always know what all the other guys are going through on a daily basis. Now that I've seen what the bullpen arms kind of have to deal with each day, it's so much more respect that I have for them too. Not that I didn't originally, but there's always that rivalry between starting pitchers and bullpen arms too, every now and then. But yeah, it was a fun experience. Absolutely.
I think it's an interesting correlation now that you mentioned, as far as warming up, the difference when you talk about using openers, because a lot of times on the outside, you're thinking, oh, it's just the starter coming into the second inning. That's the only difference. No. There's a lot more difference preparation wise. And that's why I think managers are real reluctant to do that, because it messes with, especially if you're so used to being a starting pitcher, it kind of messes, I would think, not only physically, but mentally as well.
Yeah, I mean, there's a kind of a flow of momentum to the game that happens, especially when you bring out a really good bullpen arm right off the bat, and they, let's say, blow 98 miles an hour by their first 3 hitters of the ball game, and then your first at bat is the number 4 hitter of a great hitting team, and then sometimes things can kind of unravel. So I definitely seen both ways, where you only see their best hitters maybe one less time, but also trying to start the game off right away, where you want to get into a rhythm and start rolling, and you're facing Albert Pujols, the first hitter of the game, and the next thing you know, there's bases loaded and you're trying to figure out how I can go 5 or 6 innings. So I definitely see the appeal of it, but at the same time, it's a sense of pride too as a starting pitcher. You're like, I know I can handle this, and seeing them one more time through the order isn't going to make as much of a difference. I think there's a reason I'm not a manager. I don't know how they know what's best for us, but more often than not, they certainly do. So I definitely get that question a lot, and I think it's interesting that most people, they just assume, oh, you just plug and play like MLB The Show. I just put this guy in first, and then the rest is the exact same, and it doesn't always work that way.
Those are the same people that just think play calling is just playing Madden, and all you do is ask Madden, and he tells you what to do.
Circle. Yeah. Armchair quarterbacks. Absolutely.
Oh, you can be an offensive coordinator. You can be a defensive coordinator.
I'd be the best Dallas Cowboys offensive coordinator right now. I just got to flip through my Ask Madden pages, and then I'll be perfect. That's all it takes, right?
Where he tells you to punt on 4th and 1 at your opposition's 36-yard line. I remember that lovely gift. So
and you're down by 4
in the 4th quarter.
Yeah, with no time left, basically. Yeah, smart.
So I'm curious, how was the alternate training sites?
So there's a lot of really good stories. I can get into some of them. I don't know how much time you have, but
we've got all day.
Yeah. So, well, I remember going to the original Globe Life Park when I first signed. I was in a sling, basically. I just gotten out of my cast. I had I had Tommy John surgery in 2014, and I signed shortly after, which I'm still incredibly grateful the Rangers gave me an opportunity. And I remember showing up to the field, and I was in like a blue polo, and by the time I left, I was probably in a black polo. Like I had sweat so much. I'm like, how do these guys play in this? It's like an easy bake oven. Like there's no airflow whatsoever. And meanwhile, this is as more recently, I'm talking with Joe Palumbo and stuff, and he's like, yeah, I threw like 3 pitches and I instantly got a blister one day. I'm like, how did anyone play in this for so long? They gunned those like temperature radar things now that are everywhere for coronavirus. So they used that on the field to see how hot the turf was. That's on that during the training site, and we would practice at 10 a.m. and it was like 148 degrees on the turf at 10 in the morning. And we're like looking at each other like, is this safe? Should we be out here right now? Meanwhile, they're like, suck it up. Everybody else has played here for so long. Like, it's incredible. And then meanwhile, that's all the more opportunity or the more motivation you need to try and get to the other side. So then you walk in the doors in the other stadium and immediately it's 71 degrees, just nice and balmy. And you're like, okay, I can get used to this side a lot more. So I definitely think that I don't know how they were able to play there. It's a beautiful ballpark. And I think, I don't know how they managed to one up it, but just the AC in general is incredible. So I'm grateful for that.
That's the only thing when you have naysayers, they're like, oh, the Rangers don't need a ballpark. I'm like, well, have you really been there? And I remember Joe Palumbo's game because it was game one of a doubleheader that they played at Globe Life Park. And Joe Palumbo started game one. And I think it was like, I don't know the game time temperature, but it was like 95, 98 as far as just regular temperature goes.
I remember watching it on TV and it just looked like, everyone has those towels they wear over them. That doesn't do anything. It just makes everything hotter. I can't even imagine wearing a sweatshirt on the bench with all the other starting pitchers. I'd be trying to fan myself off, do something. You need shade big time.
It was almost like, because they would have, it would almost be like another feeling when you go into the dugout and then you go that shortcut to the clubhouse. And then you feel that breeze that's coming out of that shortcut. It was almost like a breath of fresh air. You would see people conjugate right on those steps. And I'm not standing here because I want to high five, shake hands with whoever. Granted, that's an added bonus. I'm standing here because you can feel the breeze coming out.
Absolutely. I don't blame you at all. I mean, the way they have this new field set up, it's incredible. You won't want to leave. I think it's awesome what they did. And, it's guys definitely are like completely okay with staying out on the field all day too, even warming up early. So I think that'll be fun to see how that plays out. Hopefully we can interact with fans more and stuff, because I'll definitely be out there a lot more.
Yeah, and batting practice, I'm sure would be, a lot of fans love seeing batting practice. So I think you'll see a lot more batting practice or a lot more time as far as batting practice goes as going inside. And even in your start, I mean, the roof was open. And so
I think so.
I'm pretty sure it was. Somebody can correct me. Maybe I am wrong. Maybe it was closed.
That was the least of my concern, to be honest with you.
I know you're probably not the best person to ask, because I'm pretty sure there was.
I didn't even know I won it, to be honest with you, then too, because apparently I'm the only one on the doubleheader. per your trivia request.
You know what?
I was gonna say the coolest thing to me, I keep staring at it every time I'm there. It's that Truck World Hit It Here sign in the right field upper deck bleachers. And I still remember watching Joey Gallo hit one literally within probably 4 feet of it. And no one since has come anywhere close. Even in BP, I haven't seen anyone come anywhere close to that. So I'm excited to see if that ever gets hit. I wonder,
somebody needs to make a bet with Joey Gallo to see if he hits during batting practice.
There you go. That would be awesome.
Relay that over to Joey. I don't know what the wager's going to be.
Well, yeah, we'll try and work some charity front into it. That'd be kind of cool.
I do a donation. So there you go. But he has to hit it, and somebody's got to get it on film.
If you hit it, do you win a truck, or what's the deal? I didn't even look. It doesn't explain anything. It just has a hit it here sign.
Somebody needs to tell Joey that he can get a free truck.
Yeah, I'm excited.
That's probably all the motivation he needs.
Yeah, I'll tell him, hey, you can't hit that, and then we'll see.
That's all the motivation Joey needs.
Absolutely.
So, Wes, you are an Illinois native.
I am,
and
yes.
Apparently, I'm getting all these Illinois natives who are on my podcast inadvertently. So it actually works out perfectly because my family is from Chicago. And so I know but you're a little bit more west, right?
Literally the town I live in right next door is called West Chicago, if that's any indication. I'm about a 30-minute train ride straight west of the city. Yeah.
So it is west.
Yes, you're correct. Yes, it is.
Pardon that. But so Cubs fan, White Sox.
So I grew up a Cubs fan. Even though I'm on the west side of Chicago, there's definitely a lot more North Sider fans than there are South Side. I think there was a clear divide growing up. It was either you're a Cubs fan or you weren't talked to. You know what I mean? So like the Sox fans and the Cardinals fans, they got to hang out together, but the Cubs fans were always the in crowd. So I tried to fit in probably more so than I should have. But I mean, yeah, it was fun going to games. I've been to both sides growing up. Wrigley Field is just, the history there is incredible. So that's what drew me into it as a kid, you know. And, you know, the whole lovable losers kind of antic that they brought on, where it didn't matter. No one even really watched the game a whole lot. It was hang out with your friends and have a good time and get to watch baseball while you're doing it. So I totally agree with that too. And it was fun, you know, introduction to my entire baseball career is just getting to see that.
Nick Solak is Illinois native, right?
He's 2 towns over for me. He's younger than me though, so I never got to play against him growing up. But
did you guys know each other before?
No, so when we got him, the first question I asked, because he showed up in Nashville with me when we first traded for him from Tampa Bay, and I saw his nameplate. It said Nick Solak, Chicago, Illinois, and I was like, "Really, you're from Chicago too? Like, cool." And he's like, "Yeah, I'm live in Naperville or something like that." And that's usually that's like the other Chicago is you either from Naperville or you're from Chicago, and everyone just assumes you're from somewhere around there. So yeah, small world, and it's cool. We can kind of have that bond and stick together as you know, the Naperville, Illinois type kids.
It's kind of like high school relation, and anybody who's in the northern Texas area knows, you know, I'm an Allen High School alum. So yeah,
Gotcha.
As far as the people that I graduated with, I could probably name about 5 to 10, maybe 20% of those
yeah,
people.
Exactly. You know everyone from North Texas, obviously, right? Because you live in Allen, or you went to Allen High School. Yeah, that's how
I know
works.
everybody in there. Out of 11, I know all 1,100 people I graduated with.
There you go. I remember watching people at my high school graduation and going, "They're in my class."
Yes.
Like I think we had like 550 people in our graduating class, and I still to this day
that's
I'm like,
nothing.
Well, okay, so for you guys, yeah, Texas guys, that's a whole different story. Baseball or football is a religion, and also everything else down there, I think I kind of wish I was a part of, but it's still so much different. But even for me, I'm like, up here, 550 people, and I maybe know like 100 of them. So it's just how it goes up here, I guess. It's too cold to hang out. No one wants to do anything.
So as far as the cold goes, and like as far as a pitcher goes too, you made your major league debut in Coors Field, which is sort of like a red flag for pitchers. How does it feel getting that one out of the way?
Well, you know what? I was just so relieved to get the opportunity. When I got called up, I think it was August 11th. Every single day, it didn't matter what time of the day, I was preparing. I was ready to go in. And then after the first day, it didn't happen. I was like, okay, maybe tomorrow's the day. It's going to happen now. And then the 13th rolls around, and I still haven't gotten in. All right, this has got to be it now. And I'm doing bands like crazy. I'm throwing plyo balls up against the wall. I think our bullpen coach, our bullpen coach, Doug Mathis, goes, "Did you put like an Energizer battery in or something today? You're not stopping moving around." I'm like, "Yeah, you think?" Like, I'm freaking out, man. I'm trying to get ready to go. And then finally, after we flew over to Colorado to Coors Field, I got to the point where it's like, if it happens, it happens. And I was relaxed. I was calm, cool, and collected. Heard the phone ring, and I'm like, I just know it's me. So I was ready to go from the get-go. It went about as smoothly as I'd expect an opening or a debut to go. But I had a great time. The weird part about Colorado is there's no crowd noise. You know how they normally pipe in all that crowd noise, so you hear it. I could hear conversations that were happening in the bullpen, like people asking what they're eating for dinner or something like that. I'm like, as I'm trying to, my mind's going a mile a minute at the time, but I thought it was so strange. It felt like playing a spring training game in the backfields in Arizona in Surprise. So it was an interesting experience, but I'm glad I got it under my belt.
So I have to ask on there, it's got to be real different pitching when there's no crowd, when there's no, and again, like you said, it's different that you're pitching at Globe Life Field where they have crowd noise that's computerized. But
Yeah.
And did you talk to any of the other guys who had made their debut regarding just sort of how the different atmosphere is?
Yeah, I think there's definitely a form of adrenaline that you can get when there's fans there. It's like you feel like you're playing for the fans. When you don't see them, it's like your mind, there's that extra switch in your head that doesn't turn on quite as much. And I definitely think once we get fans in there, we get big situations that like the velocity is going to increase a ton. The big game scenarios where people have to really slow the game down themselves are going to start to take effect. So you'll really see if guys are able to handle it and who aren't. I think I kind of got it a little bit easier for me. And I think a lot of the guys who made their debuts this year, we kind of got, our hands held into the entire aspect of what Major League Baseball actually entails. But for the most part, I think it was a great stepping stone to be able to go through that at kind of maybe an easier level, as they would say. But at the end of the day, when Mike Trout steps in the box, you still have to throw to Mike Trout. So it doesn't matter how many fans are there or not. You're not thinking about who's screaming what. You got to be locked in. And it's almost better when there's so many fans that you can't hear any of them and it drowns out versus, one parent in the background yelling, "Hey, you stink." And you can actually understand that and comprehend it. It's kind of funny when you think about that. But, yeah, I'm excited. I'm hoping we get as many as we can here this upcoming year and everyone stays healthy.
Because it almost feels like you guys are making two, I know it sounds weird, but like making two major league debuts. You're making one just in general, and then it's almost like there's one aspect of your debut that's not present. So then you go in assuming crowds are there. You're essentially making another debut, this time with the atmosphere aspect to it. But like you said, you've already gotten a portion of that down. So I feel like it benefits you guys. I feel like all the rookies that got their shot this year, making their debuts in 2020, have a good stepping stone because you've already got that adrenaline, going hitter to batter, you've got that down. Now it's just how to do it with a major league crowd.
Absolutely. And I think that, there's a piece of it that's missing that I think all of us kind of felt because of that, where it's like, you're dreaming about playing baseball in your backyard and you're a little kid and you're not picturing no fans in there while you're up to bat or while you're making the 3-2 pitch in the bottom of the ninth inning and the fans are completely silent. Like, no. So obviously everyone's like, I want that aspect. And that's what I think I'm missing personally. And that's what I can't wait to get back this year and hopefully next year and every year from here on out. So excited to see a lot of Texas Rangers fans in the stands here and hopefully in October as well.
The positives and negatives. You want those crowd cheering, but then also on the road, those people yelling at you.
True. I'm sure there are just as many, negatives as there are positives out there. I would hope that we would have more encouragement as opposed to, hopefully, I'll say this. Hopefully we can make the fans have something to be happy about more so than we would not this upcoming year. Absolutely.
And then one of the reasons why when I was looking at the upcoming rotation, I know Lance is gone, but this is a really young rotation, kind of led to Kyle Gibson. Seems like the main guy, and of course we'll see with spring training. But you look at up and down this list, I mean, there's a lot of quality guys that got their opportunity, and you can pretty much pin slot anybody. And so did it help knowing that you got to experience this with a whole lot of people that, like, you started the alternate site, you got called up, you got a whole lot of people called up, and you guys had to experience this together in a big group? Did that really help?
Absolutely. Yeah. So being able to go through the system with guys like Kyle Cody and everyone else, kind of Brett Martin, all sorts of people, even Taylor Hearn, who showed up in 2018 from the Pirates, I think we got him. Getting to play in the minor leagues with those guys, it made the transition so much easier. And the best part about this year, obviously we have a Lance-sized hole to fill in the rotation. So there's going to be a lot of competition coming up. And I think I welcome that 100%. Being able to make everybody better as a cohesive unit is way better than just trying to pick out a flyer of hopefully this guy sticks, hopefully this guy sticks. You know what I mean? So I think being able to use what we have right now is going to be great, because we're all going to get better because of it and become better baseball players. Gibby's certainly taken a leadership role in our group. He's a great guy. I hope more people start to become fans of him too on the Texas side. I know this past season wasn't long enough to kind of really get to know guys, but he's a great person. And I think being able to start to build kind of a unit around him, guys will go out every day, get us 5-6 innings in a start and give us a chance to win ball games, is we're just going to see who's can be the most consistent, and that person's going to get a spot. So I'm excited to see what happens this year, and whatever role they give to us, all of us, I'm sure, are just going to be happy to take it.
I'm curious what the mindset is, because now that you brought up with all these guys, now essentially you're competing against these guys, because Gibson's going to get a spot, Lyles is going to get a spot, Arahara is going to get a spot, up and down, see if Dane Dunning's going to get it. But then you have, let's just say Dunning doesn't, you get 2 spots, and you got a lot of guys, you've grown up together. Now all of a sudden it's like, now I'm competing against you regarding a rotation spot.
Yeah, it's funny when guys kind of think about that. It seems to be the initial reaction from the outside, but honestly, it doesn't feel that way, especially amongst guys who you consider your friends. Yeah, there's a competitive aspect of it, but I don't want them to do worse so that way I can look better. I want them to do better so that way I have to step my game up and prove that I can be there. I think as soon as guys start to figure that out, that's when their game completely changes, and everyone just continues to grow and get better. Because, I mean, let's say you don't make the roster and you're still throwing really well. There's, I hate to say it, but there's 30 other teams looking at you that all want what you have. So as long as you can focus on yourself in that regard, I think that's where guys don't really, the pressure's off. I just have to focus on me. And I hope everybody does incredibly well, because at the end of the day, we want the team to win. So everyone making each other better in that regard is what's going to be the main point of focus, I think, for this year going forward. And I'm even trying to pick up some Japanese here in my spare time so I can talk to Koei and try and communicate a little bit better. I don't know how good he is at English yet, but I'm excited to meet a lot of the new guys we have coming in.
I'm curious to know from some of the other Rangers like Odor, Elvis, when Yu Darvish was in, see if they picked anything up. I don't know. Maybe not. I think Yu Darvish knew more English than he was letting on.
He got good fast. Probably the funniest story I know about him was there was, I want to say, I don't know if it was Cole Hamels. Someone was talking to him. I remember staring at him in the weight room, and they were talking to him. And Yu Darvish had this look on, like, I don't know what you're saying. And before I knew it, like, whoever he was talking to walked away, and then he like bumps someone else on the shoulder, like, I totally got him. Like, he thinks I didn't understand anything he said. It's like, no, they're pretty smart. Like, he can understand what's going on, and he's been around. Like, Yu Darvish says like slang terms like, "Oh, that's awesome, bro," and stuff like that. Like, he understands English. I'm interested to see, because I think Koei is 28 years old.
Yeah.
So I don't know how much English he knows, but by the time he's here 2 or 3 years, you get immersed in the language and the culture. It becomes second nature. You don't need a translator as much anymore.
But no, that's a good point. Brushing up on a little Japanese and see. I really do think that just in general, even coming in, that some of these guys know more than they let on. You still need translator, especially in high watermark situations, so that you get the point across. But I think just in like regular clubhouse banter, and they know a little bit more.
I mean, if you know how to speak Japanese, English is a breeze. I feel like that stuff is hard. I've been trying to learn every day. Like, I use Duolingo or whatever. I don't know if you heard of that app. I'm like trying to learn phrases here and there. Just there's like 3 different languages and 3 different characters and stuff, and I'm going crazy. Like, I gotta take it one step at a time. So it's pretty intense. I don't know how. I'm sure it'll be hopefully a little bit easier for him to learn English than it was Japanese.
I still need those Latin guys to help with some Spanish too.
No kidding. I feel like I start speaking Spanglish sometimes to people because that's how my mind starts working. and I'll just like, I'll like try and say sorry, and I'll say sorry in Spanish to someone who's like someone, my neighbor or something. And they're just like, I don't speak that language. Okay, cool. But I think that's awesome that, you know, you're immersed in that culture. And every time, usually right around February, March, I really start getting into Latin music, and I'm like ready for baseball season to start coming around. I listen to see what all the top hits are in Puerto Rico and Dominican Republic and stuff, because then I know that's what I'm gonna be hearing in the next, you know, 5-6 months out of the year in the locker room.
Yeah, because doesn't Elvis still control the music?
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. We lost a lot of veteran guys, so yeah, well, it'll be up for grabs. Yeah, but whoever was, you know, had a good day, or whoever was really feeling it, would grab the aux cord first and would have the locker room start bumping. Absolutely.
So is that kind of how, as far as road games, like when you guys traveled, is that kind of, do you feel like under the circumstances of 2020 that you guys became more together? As far as the protocols that have to be, you guys really couldn't go out. And so it's basically you're secluded with each other on road trips, where it's just, you had to dine, sleep, all of that as a group.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't really allowed to leave the hotel. It was, hey, we're going to go watch this football or basketball game in Lance's room, or hey, we're going to Jesse Chavez brought his PlayStation and he's going to play Call of Duty, you know, things like that. So it's like we would just hang out, and obviously there's not much to do in a hotel besides watch TV or call your family. So if you weren't doing that, I mean, you'd be eating dinner together or whatever you could, where we get our little sack lunches, but we wouldn't really necessarily be allowed to go anywhere else. We'd have to like stay within certain numbers, or if we were in the ballroom, we would have to be, that's like the only congregational space where we could be allowed to be, or at some times. So it's like there are certain rules in certain places, but when we had like outdoor rooms or something, you could have more. I don't even know how it works, but that's essentially how everything went this past season. It wasn't the full major league experience, as I've been told, but still pretty fun nonetheless.
Do you have a juicy road story from a road trip?
Oh,
if
gosh.
If it's better if you refrain, then don't worry about it.
I don't know. I think with maybe the only thing that I think would be relevant, I may have to plead the fifth on. But we had a really fun group of guys, and I definitely think that, you know, in terms of good people on this team, we certainly have one of the best. I can't imagine anything more. So I'm grateful for that. Sorry, I can't disclose any information.
Hey, you know, I get it. That's what I say. If you can say it out loud, go for it. If you have to refrain, I'll totally understand.
I'll think of
you got your allegiance
ones,
to your team.
Yeah, I'll think of some good stuff if I can before the end of this. But yeah, that's so far. I'll need to think on it a little bit, I think.
So with the first Rangers player, I figure, and a lot of you pizza fans know this, when the Rangers score 7, you get a free large pizza, or you get 50% off at Papa John's. So I figure, no, this isn't going to be a pizza related, but I figured do a Rangers 7 questions. So Mr. Wes, let's go ahead. So I'll just ask you this. This is really random. 7 questions, random.
Fire away.
I'm gonna ask this to every single Rangers player I could get. So
the more random, the better. Let's do it.
So Wes, question number 1. What is a surprising song on your playlist?
Ooh, surprise. Hang on. Can I look at my phone? Is this cheating?
No, it's not.
I'm gonna search. So as much as, you know, everyone loves country, especially in Texas and stuff like that, most of my playlists and stuff involve some sort of pump up type workout music. So just because my phone's littered with like EDM type music doesn't mean I listen to that on the regular. So I apologize in advance if I say something kind of interesting. I think I had a Taylor Swift song on, if that's the
Which
most
one?
random. I believe it was Cardigan. Yeah. Taylor Swift, Cardigan. There you go. Or Sunday Best by Surfaces. That's another one too. You guys can look that one up. That's a fun one to just kind of
People are gonna
be
roast
kind of
me for
chill.
this, but I don't recall that Taylor Swift song. I have a couple on there. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
I
that's
just
on
have
every
like
radio station here. So I've heard it so many times. I figured, all right, I'll get it. Fine.
I've been working from home since April, so any radio listening has pretty much gone out the door.
Yeah, there you go.
So that's my excuse.
Save on gas.
It is. It is. I think what is it like after I would get it like once a week, and then all of a sudden I would be just going to like groceries and stuff, and then it's like 3 weeks later I haven't gotten gas, and then
That's
the prices
awesome.
were it just was a breath of fresh air of just not having
Absolutely.
to fill it up. And I know the prices in the Illinois area, especially in the Chicago Cook County areas, are absolutely ridiculous.
It gets pretty rough the closer you get to the city, for sure.
That's something from that's actually one of the things that popped up in like when you remember as a kid when you would travel all the time. And so like one of the things would be like, why are gas prices so expensive here? But then you go outside the city and
you take
so
2
cheap.
blocks across the street and they're 10 cents cheaper for some reason. Yeah, it's all.
Oh my gosh, like I think I forgot what county is next to Cook, but like there's this one gas station that's like right on the outskirts that's like 10 cents cheaper, and you would have lines of people waiting to
people
get
go
gas.
nuts. There are apps for it. They have apps on their phone now where you can see which gas station's cheaper based on how far away you are from it. People are smart, man. They know what
20 to 25 minutes to figure out which gas station I'm going to.
Oh man, I got to remember what it's like in Texas here shortly. That'd be great.
I think it's like under 2 last time I checked.
Okay.
So
gotcha. That's pretty decent if you ask me.
Oh yeah. It's I know people would say, oh, it's a little high. Well, no, go north and
you go to California, if it's under 4, it's a good day.
Question 2. What is a TV show that you watched that people wouldn't think you would?
Ooh.
I got a whole bunch, but
same here. I'm trying to pick which one I think would be best. So I won't say it's my wife's fault because I kind of got into the drama. Vanderpump Rules. Have you seen that before?
I have not.
So she would put that on, and finally I got to the point where I'd just be sitting on the couch and going, oh, this person's a jerk. Like I had been watching it my whole life too. But I finally got into that, and I think MTV's The Challenge. I love that show. I'm watching a new season this year.
I have not watched it in the last 3 or 4 years, so I don't know any of the new cast. I pretty much stopped watching when they brought in all of these like new people, and I kind of stopped. But like, I think between 2008 to like 2014 is when I was like, that 6-year span is when like I was hooked on it.
Yeah.
So like absolutely. I go from like the original, I think the first one I ever watched, I don't know if you remember this, The Duel 1.
Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, there's a guy named Wes on it, so I gotta watch it. He's my favorite guy. I hope he wins every time.
So does that mean you're gonna shave your head and color it red?
Yeah, I don't know if I can pull that off. I think that's more his style, but we'll see what happens.
I'll tell you what. If you throw an 8-inning shutout,
I have to do that.
Yes.
All right, and only 8 innings though. If I go CG, I'm free. If I only go 8 shutouts. No,
because you may influence Doug Mathis and Chris Woodward into being so 8 or later. Because you may be like, and I better not, if it does happen and I'm watching it, I better not see in like the 7th inning.
I will buzz my head and I will dye it red for you. That's a deal. You heard it here first. Awesome.
So we'll do this prior and after and during pandemic, but grocery shopping. Do you do delivery, pickup, or in-store? And if it's changed with the pandemic?
So in Texas, when I was down there and the virus was kind of new, I was as cautious as possible because the last thing I wanted to do is get anybody sick on our team. So I used Amazon to just ship it to my door. And I thought that was awesome. That's the first time I've ever done that. And it was so cool to just be able to like have a knock on my door and have all my groceries in like a little like silver container there. I was like, this is sweet. But normally I go in here, there's not too many people around where I live going to the store at any point in time. So I usually just go into, we have a place called Jewel Osco for anyone who knows Illinois. That's where I go and I shop for my groceries.
I would say, is Kroger there? Because I was going to say it's like the Chicago version.
It's similar, similar to Kroger.
Yeah. So for those that don't know,
it's like it's not quite a Buc-ee's, but
no, it's not a Buc-ee's. It's very generic. I haven't been in Jewel in a long time, but from what I remember, you got Jewel, you've got Dominic's.
There's a couple ones. It's like Fry's. Do you have a Fry's there? I don't know.
Yes.
That's like Arizona. There's Fry's and stuff. Yeah, it's basically like that.
But one thing is, I will go to the grocery store, and everybody knows this on there. I will go to the grocery store at 6 a.m. when I go in person.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Is there like special deals or something that I don't know about?
There's just not. Well, there's not that many people there. First off, and second off, you have people that are stocking, so they're there before 6 stocking shelves.
Gotcha. I don't think I've ever looked up what time grocery stores open because I'm probably asleep. Yeah.
Like if I get there 5:55, I have
the guy knocking on the door like, hey, can I come in? I need to get my groceries. Let's go.
The sliding doors aren't active. They don't have any cash register. You have to use the self-checkout at that time.
There you go. Yeah. I'm a big fan of the self-checkout. Less human contact there, the better. You don't need to be running into people at the grocery store.
Any way you can prevent it, and you never know with like delivery and pickup, people are and some of your items aren't available. So if you have to substitute, do your own, because I'm real picky. So do your own substitute.
You big.
Do they have a specific? No, I'm sorry. What?
I said you only eat organic stuff, or what's the deal?
No. I am just a picky eater.
I gotcha. I understand. I'm the same way.
I used to, as a kid, not have cheese on my pizza.
Really?
Yep. So
so then I do have to ask, since you did bring up pizza earlier, what's your pizza topping of choice? What do you normally go for?
Mostly pepperoni. It depends on the place.
Okay.
So most of the time it's pepperoni. If anybody has ever eaten at Papa Murphy's, I will have black olives, not pepperoni, because I don't like the way they do that. So I like the black olive. When my mom makes it, I don't usually eat Italian sausage, but if she gives me leftover Italian sausage pizza, I'll eat that.
There you go. So I'm a big fan of that too.
Mom's homemade, but pepperoni is
I can't handle olives though. That's a no for me. Olives, and I heard Brett Martin the other day on the other podcast, they were doing green olives, and I was like, I look at you.
I've never had that before, but I'm curious. I would like to try one piece, but it sounds like it'd be real salty.
So I got to know too. So I actually love Hawaiian pizza. Do you consider that pizza, or am I immediately on like the hit list of?
No,
There are some aficionados who are like, if you think Hawaiian pizza is people who actually thing, like, don't talk to me. But I love it. I think it's great. I'm a big fan.
You can eat whatever you want. I have my share of really stupid food opinions. Everybody knows
I'm a big barbecue chicken pizza guy. If I see that on the menu somewhere, I'll probably get that first if I've never been to that place or whatever. So I'm a big fan. But yeah, I don't know why I love barbecue so much, but I'm all in.
Barbecue in general?
Barbecue in general, and also that, barbecue pizza.
Are you looking forward to opening weekends in Kansas City?
So my uncle is a barbecue pitmaster, and he wants to probably produce a spread for everybody there. So that'd be kind of fun if I crack an opening day roster and get to see him up there. That'd be a lot of fun. Absolutely. Hint. Right here. Yeah. Hey, if you guys, I'll talk to the Rangers front office. Hey, if you guys want barbecue, you should probably put me in. Let's see how that goes over well. Oh my gosh, bribery.
This is a straightforward question. Sleep with socks or no?
Yes. In Chicago, if you don't, you're not going to fall asleep because your feet will be too cold. So sleep with socks on.
See, even when I visit, I don't do that. Like, it just can't.
So I know a lot of people who don't. And it's interesting. My wife doesn't, and I feel like I have icicles on my legs half the time when I like during the middle of the night. So I don't know how. I've heard scientifically, if you have warmer feet, you will fall asleep faster. So I've always took that to heart, and I've kept socks on ever since. But if you want to listen to scientists and all that stuff, I mean, it's up to you.
Yeah, no. I mean, if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. There's your science.
Yeah, exactly. To each their own. Yes, absolutely.
What was your go-to video game growing up?
Ooh, go-to video game. What
was
I was
your
a big
console?
Tony Hawk guy. Tony Hawk games were awesome. I think Tony Hawk Underground was like the first game I actually remember feeling like riveted by. But other than that, like any sports game, like I was a big NFL Street guy too. Those were a lot of fun. I rocked the old PS2 back in the day, and I rode that out for a while, and I finally got an Xbox One probably like a couple years ago. Like, so I'm still holding it down with those. I still think that PS5s are fake, that no one actually has them. They just get the boxes.
They just say that they're all sold out.
They're like, oh, I totally got them. And they just like printed it out and put it in a box or something. I still don't think those are possible to get. If you have them, more power to you, but those are going to be about as tough to find as a vaccine right now. You're trying to get.
Doesn't, and maybe I misunderstood, but doesn't Jose have one?
If he does, he hasn't told me. He hasn't been sharing this information with me. He might have access to it. He's probably trying to keep it on the down low. So
if I know Trevi, he has access.
He probably does. He has a lot of connections in the Dallas area. I wouldn't be surprised.
It's like one of those transactions that you take in like the trunk of your car with like people have their masks on. It's like you're trying to do one of those. You shake
your hand and they're like, something just went down there.
At like a gas station.
That's Jose. That's the epitome of Jose right there.
If I get a chance, I'll ask Jose. Not about that, but about owning a PS5.
There you go. Perfect.
And it's just riveting when you said back in the day of PS2. God, I feel so old.
Oh, well, yeah. Obviously I don't think we're that old, but I mean, it seems like it. Because when did that come out? That was like, what, early 2000s? Like, it had to have been, right?
Oh my gosh, really?
I feel like it has been.
Man.
Yeah, something like that.
I was an N64 guy.
There you go. I used to always go to my friends' houses who had that to play like Super Smash Brothers and all that stuff. They were the cool. Yeah.
Yes. Mario games growing in there. I think we still have that in 64. But PS1, PS2.
Those are expensive now. You try and find that online, it's probably like $200-$300. You could probably almost buy a PS5 with it.
That shows you about the quality.
No kidding, right? Well, all you need to fix it is you just got to blow on the cartridge. That's all.
Oh,
that's
there
all
you
it
go.
took. You didn't have to worry about anything else.
That's where you get your air
Simplicity.
from. Oh man, yeah. That's if you didn't blow in the cartridge, then that's like the staple.
Yeah, you haven't lived. Absolutely. Did you really have a childhood if that was the case?
So Wes, if you weren't a baseball player or athlete, what profession would you be in?
What profession? Ooh. Doesn't have to be sports related or just in general?
Just not like, it's a cop out if you say, oh, I would have been a basketball player. No.
Yeah, I gotcha. So I went to school for physical therapy. I still think, unfortunately, throughout my career, I've been hurt before enough times to know that. I feel like I know a lot about anatomy in the human body where I can like tell people, hey, maybe you should work on this. Maybe you should try rolling out this. Or so guys will like kind of come up to me if they don't want to go in the training room sometimes and be like, hey, what do I do if this is tight today? And like, I'll try and give my 2 cents, which is kind of funny.
So you're the go-to.
So not quite doc, but maybe I can help guys out with sports injuries. That way I could still be around sports because I'm a huge sport fanatic too. But if not that, Yeah, I'd probably just have to say that. That's the career path.
Physical therapy counts.
I think broadcasting would be fun. I think that would be a lot of fun to do post-career is, get to analyze games and stuff and still stick around. The main point for me is I like to be around sports. So whatever I can do to make that happen, I'm good with.
So what did you do between the months of April and June?
Back here?
Just in general, nothing going on as far as the sports world.
Okay. Well, I did a lot so I came back here. We basically were told mid-March, hey, it's only going to be 2 weeks. We're going to be back down in Arizona. Leave all your stuff. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. I'm like, okay, perfect. I come back here, start throwing bullpens, ready to go. Nothing for months and months and months of, hey, we're thinking about starting maybe a little later, maybe next month. So by the time I had kind of just gotten fed up of hoping that it would be the next week, that we started throwing down here. Everybody had masks on. We would start throwing in games. We had like our own little, weather started to get nicer. We started getting outside, live at bats, live VPs here. So I basically threw about 60 some odd innings of baseball on my own. So I kind of had my own little makeshift season, and we got some high school kids. We got some collegiate hitters. We even got some major league hitters from the area to show up and take a few hacks and, try and stay sharp, because that's what we all were doing. We just had no idea if we even would play a season. So we wanted to stay as sharp as we could. And I think for the most part, that's what helped me out too, in terms of, maybe I only got 20 some odd innings in the major leagues, but I've thrown probably over 100 innings this past season, this past year, just not in a professional setting necessarily. So I think that
on paper it says 22, but it's not really 22 because
not even close. Yeah, my arm went through a full season this past year, so I'm ready to continue going forward.
I think that's perfect, in any way, in shape or form that you can get to that goal, even though it's not on paper and you're not facing big league hitters. You're facing one on occasion, but you're not facing big league hitters. The fact that you're able to at least get that work in for 1 year, it's fantastic. And do you think that, like you said, it helped attribute to the success that you had and the length that you had throughout the season? You're able to go 4 or 5 innings.
Yeah, and it was cool because like I had guys, from my local high school and stuff like that who wanted to show up, and we tried not to make it too big of a crowd because obviously we don't want to have any
MLB is going to have a red flag.
Yeah, no kidding, right? But also it was, by word of mouth, hey, do you want to go take a few swings today? Sure. And I'd get like 2 or 3 guys to show up, and the high school kids would like cheer and clap and high five each other when they'd have a foul tip off me or something. And like, if they, God forbid, made contact with it, everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're amazing. Like, this is awesome. So it was fun to be able to see and see how far I've come kind of as a player and as an athlete, from that level. It's pretty cool to see.
That is awesome. That's amazing. And last thing is, so I got a question for you, and question number 7. So I need a Rangers wingman. Let's just say you're going out to the club. This is post-COVID. Going out to a club. I come up to you and say, hey, Wes, I need a wingman. And one of your teammates, who would you recommend?
I was going to say it's not me because I'm kind of spoken for right now. So I appreciate you tiptoeing around that. Let me see. I think, okay, so I would go with Ronald Guzman. I mean, so he's taken, I think, as well. I'm not sure. I don't want to speak for him, but at the same time, if you need that kind of the cool guy flair to it, like, hey, this is my friend, and like he'll start speaking super fast. This is my friend. I'm Ronald Guzman. What's up? And then like he'll before you know it, he'll probably have drinks in his hand. And then like I think he would be your go-to guy as a wingman already. Not only that, because I think people recognize him too. They'd probably be like, oh my gosh, it's Ronald Guzman already. But I would pick him for sure.
Is he sporting out the frosted tips again this year?
Oh, I haven't asked him. I think that'd be kind of funny. He's got the curls going though.
He's always got the curls pretty much going.
Yeah. So I think you should do something like that. I think it should we got to dye it some color or something this year. But I think the frosted tips was definitely interesting. He almost had like a Derrick Henry going on.
Oh yeah, maybe yes, Derrick Henry, pull that one going, especially with the batting helmet on. That would be amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Wes, man, I appreciate it, and good luck to spring training. Pitchers and catchers are reporting in just about a month. I think a little bit over a month.
Yeah, almost.
And everything's on track.
We're going as far as I know. Fingers crossed. And thanks for having me, Alex. I appreciate it.
If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can follow at aplaguetx. If you follow Wes on Twitter, your Twitter handle?
I think it's just W Benjamin 12. I'll have to look, but I think that's it. Let's go for that.
W Benjamin 12. And it comes up as a Game Day Wes for great reason. Wes ready on game day. If you want to listen to this podcast, you go to YouTube. It'll be up there. Also on Anchor and Google Podcasts. Ranger fans, mid-January, we're getting close. Everything's saying it's on track. And you guys just keep staying safe out there. Wes, man, enjoy it in Illinois. Stay warm. Keep those socks on. And
Will do. I appreciate it.
We will get things going in February. And then, of course, in March, spring training going. And opening day, less than 3 months away, 2.5 months on April 1st.
I'm ready for it. Let's do it.
We're all ready.
Thanks again, man.